Welcome back to the Former Fans Podcast. Fellas, has your woman packed on a few pounds? Maybe become a little less energetic after 3 kids? I'm excited to share with you a truly ancient secret about how to make your spouse more attractive. There's no surgery, no injections necessary on her part, and no man pills for you. You are guaranteed to find her more irresistible than ever with this one simple step. You ready? Only look at her sexually. Now, what I mean is, don't just view her sexually and that's it. But when you view anything sexually, allow it to only be her. That's it. And some of y'all are about to click on to the next video, but hold on. Let me prove to you how this works from the greatest ancient wisdom, the book of Proverbs, that we can find. Proverbs 5:15 says, drink water from your own cistern, flowing waters from your own well. And so what's this saying? It literally means have sex with your wife. Drink water equals have sex. Your own cistern, your own well means with your wife in your marriage. Get after it, boys. It goes on. Proverbs 5:16 says, should your springs be scattered abroad, streams of water in the streets? Let them be for yourself alone and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice in the wife of your youth. Sex and attraction between a husband and wife is special and unique, and it's cheapened when you spread it across images or women you see in just your daily lives. And no matter if your wife is literally the undisputed most beautiful woman in the world, well, it's actually my wife, but yours may be a close second place, she can't compete with the thousands of women you'll see in person and online. And if you're finding arousal or you're looking at the shape of each woman that you see walking down the road, or you're scanning every room you walk in to find the most attractive girl in there, you're setting yourself up for great failure. You're not drinking from your own well. You're training your brain to find attraction outside of your own well. In Proverbs 5:17, says, let them be for yourself alone and not for strangers with you. And you may think your wife is pretty, you may think she's attractive, but you won't have that desire for her, and you just won't rejoice in the wife of your youth. And this is hard to do, especially in a sex-saturated culture. It's also hard to only have eyes for your wife because it feels good to do it otherwise. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 17 goes on and says, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. That is so true. Believe it or not, the most exhilarating sex you could ever have is one that's included with adrenaline, and you're not going to find that often in a monogamous, one man, one woman marriage. Adrenaline comes in when there's extramarital affairs, which is why it can be so addicting. But just because it's the most exhilarating type of sex doesn't mean it's the best sex. Stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. It gives you that dopamine hit you crave when you lust after another woman, but it's not what you need. And I hear people all the time, well, Tyler, I don't lust, but I do admire God's beauty in women when I see it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that from guys. Too much. Bro, listen. You may not be imagining yourself having intercourse with that woman, but you staring at those yoga pants walking by or that cleavage in the movie is not admiring God's creation. It's cheapening your marriage, and it's breaking and putting cracks in your own cistern. The Freedom Fight program walks guys through this great section called the arousal template. And everyone has these different things that arouse them. And no joke, you could literally be aroused by anything. Inanimate objects, like my pen or that tree out there. You could find arousal, and depending on what has happened to you in your life or certain things that have affected you. And you're conditioning your arousal template every time you look at a woman, and it's hurting you just as much as it's hurting her. It's like eating chocolate chip cookie. It tastes good going down, but if you send 25 of those down the hatch a day, it's going to affect not just your waistline, but everything in you health-wise. Your heart's going down, your cholesterol's going up. You will be affected. I had this conversation this week with a married man in his 20s. His marriage is struggling. He's addicted to corn, and he's talking about how he finds his wife attractive, but they haven't had just this intimacy that he thought would be there, and he hasn't desired her that much, and her vice versa, to be honest with him. I asked him if he could ever see himself be aroused by looking at a 65-year-old woman. And he thought it was a crazy question. It was like, no, there's no way I'm getting aroused by a 65-year-old woman. And I told him, you better hope so. You better hope you can be aroused by looking at a 65-year-old woman. And again, he gives me this crazy look like, what are you talking about? And I shared how, Lord willing, one day he's going to be married to a 65-year-old when he's 65. And he'd better hope he's conditioned his brain, his mind, to find his flowing water from his one well. Otherwise, he's only and forever always going to find just young women attractive, whoever's walking by in whatever set of pants that he can find stimulation from. I tell my wife all the time how beautiful she is to me, and the more and more time that goes by, the more and more attractive she gets to me each day. And she asks, how? I don't look like I did when we got married. Lady, you look better. You're my flowing water. And it's worshipful to the Lord every time I look at you and I see my woman and I think, good job, Lord. And thank you for giving her to me. You are quite the designer. But let me end with this wisdom from the end of Proverbs 31:30. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. We all get old and wrinkly and saggy or whatever we're kind of afraid of, but that doesn't mean we lose attraction or desire, and that's not the most important thing, actually. A woman who fears the Lord, a woman who loves her family, a woman who makes disciples, that's a woman to be praised. Go find that woman, single fellas. Married men, lead your wives to be that woman and drink from your own cistern. I'm glad we had this talk. If you're watching this on YT, check out these videos somewhere around here where I do a bunch of interviews on our podcast with ministers about how to get free from their own corn addictions and so that they can go help others get free. This is a great video on what discipleship actually is, how we use it in our ministry. It's blessed a lot of people. I think it may bless you as well. And if you just want to check out some fun stuff that our family does, check out this video up here. Thanks for being here. Go drink deep from your well.